Hello and welcome everyone. This video is about analyzing your games. So, do you analyze most of your games? Even if you don't do a deep analysis of your games, you should at least try and go over your games. Even if you just do a quick review and try and find out what you did wrong, what you can improve on. So, this game here is one I played at a local chess club a few days ago, and I thought I would go over this game and analyze it a little bit. Now, you can do it in different ways. Just go over your game, see what you can find, and that's what I recommend. You try and just go over the game yourself first before you use the help of a computer, especially if you can go over the game with the person you played against. And if not, go over it yourself and then use the computer to find out what you miss. So, in this game, I had the white pieces, and we had a time limit of, game in 25 with a delay of 5 here. And I tried out this Hippopotamus Defense again with the white pieces this time. So, the Hippopotamus Defense is basically I'll show you how it works here. You want to fianchetto both of your bishops and put most of your pawns on the third rank here. And so I started with g3, and they responded with d5 here. Okay, so I put pressure on that pawn with my bishop, and they just developed another pawn, which helps control the center here. And so in this Hippopotamus Defense, I want to fianchetto both of my bishops, like I said, and then try and bring both of these pawns to d3 and e3. And the Hippopotamus Defense is usually used by black, but it's a setup or a system, an opening system, this Hippopotamus Defense that you can use with either color. And so they respond here with knight to c6, fighting for the center. And in the Hippopotamus Defense, you usually bring your knights here to e2 and d2. And play will occur on the wings with the f-pawn push or a c-pawn push usually. Alright, so they pushed with e5 here, and it says that this is a mistake. Let's see, if I look at the analysis here, it looks like e5 gives the advantage to white, and the computer wanted knight to f6 played here. Although this move doesn't seem too bad, I would assume the computer would rather that black get his pieces out instead of pushing all these pawns. So I respond here with b3, and it says that's a miss, that d4 would have been a better move. So that's interesting. With that, we'd probably have exchanges in the center here. But I wanted to get this Hippopotamus Defense set up. So I continued. They finally make that knight move here anyway. So I developed my bishop. So now I have these bishops aimed down both diagonals, attacking the center, and this is kind of a flexible defense, the Hippopotamus Defense, but I noticed you kind of get into a cramped position by keeping everything restricted here on the third row, second and third rows, as you'll see. So they just develop their bishop, and it looks like the computer would rather develop it to d6 here, where it's a little more passive on e7. And so I continue with this d3 move, which is standard in this Hippopotamus Defense. So they castle, and the other knight moves here. So I almost have the Hippopotamus Defense set up. Normally the A and H pawns also go up to this third rank here, so that it keeps back any pieces from jumping into b4 and g4. And sometimes when the pawns move to h3 and a3, it allows you to push the g or the b pawn forward and control more space on either wing. Alright, so here we have bishop to e6, the response by black, and that is the best move here. Alright, so I continue with this setup, although here it says I should have just castled, which is what I ended up doing a little bit later in the game. And now they respond with an inaccuracy here, although black is ahead in this position. They went to queen to b6, but the computer would like queen to d7, which creates a battery here attacking this h3 pawn, which would have prevented me from castling after that, or else I would lose that pawn because the rook would no longer protect it. But they moved here, queen to b6, probably anticipating that if I castle, the queen would be aimed down towards my king on g1, but also this bishop is unprotected. So if this c pawn were to push forward, my b pawn would not be able to capture, or the bishop would be lost by the queen here. Alright, so a3 is played, and this is the Hippopotamus Defense setup right here, where most of your pawns are on the third rank, the knights are in the center, and the bishops have both fianchettoed. So this is a pretty solid defensive setup, but it is a little constricted and maybe a little passive. And plus, I'm newer to this Hippopotamus Defense. I've never really used it much until recently. I've been trying it. So who knows whether I'll continue with it or not, but you can try it out yourself and see what you think. I did a little introductory video on the Hippopotamus Defense recently, so you could check that out. Alright, so it says a3 is an excellent move, but I should have castled. So they move here to c8 with the rook, which is good. When you push pawns in the center, you usually want your rook in behind these pawns to help support their push forward. And if these pawns are exchanged, then the rooks will end up on open or half open files. Alright, so we have castling here finally, and now the rook moves, which the computer says this is best, also helping fight for this central file. And now, let's see, c4. So as I was saying in this Hippopotamus Defense, often the center is kind of blocked. Here it's not blocked. I could have pushed forward, but oftentimes in Hippopotamus Defense, play occurs on the wings, on the C and F files. These pawns usually push forward to counterattack the center here. So my opponent did not want to exchange, and it said that is a mistake, which now the game could even up here if I captured that pawn. But let's see, the computer would like queen to c7 instead. But after they played this pawn push, I pushed here to try and lock in the center and allow me to push this f pawn and attack his central pawn. But the computer liked a capture here in the center, which I wasn't sure about that because I don't know, I kind of wanted to keep this locked up and play on the wings. So, obviously the computer prefers this attack in the center. Now, h6 is played, although it looks like g5 was the preferred move. And then I responded with my f pawn push here, which it says is best. And now, after capture, here, let's see, it looks like the best move to put white in a slight advantage is to capture with this g pawn, which I probably should have done, and then maybe I could have used this open g file to put pressure on the king. But instead I captured with my knight attacking his bishop, and he responded with a knight move here to the center. And it says that is good, but rook to e8 would have been a better move. All right, so I attack, trying to get rid of his bishop pair, but the computer says this is a mistake and that bishop to c1 would have been better. Which, yes, I think this bishop move would have been better to get the bishop on this open line or open diagonal here aimed at his king side. But I was trying to get rid of the bishop pair. So he captures with the queen, which that is best according to the computer. And here I just bring this knight up that was not doing much on d2 and try to bring it up to f3 to attack his knight and put more pressure in the center. So he exchanges the knights, which brings my queen up, and here it looks like the rook was the preferred move, which maybe that would allow me to double rooks up here, so I assume that's why that move was preferred. All right. So now, b5, an excellent move, although the computer prefers knight to d7, and from here the knight can reposition to e5 and attack my queen. But b5 is played here. And now, if I were to capture this pawn, the queen could capture here, forking my bishop and the pawn that would have captured up here on b5. So I did not want to do that, and so let's see. Although here it says that that would have been my best move, so that's interesting. C takes b5, queen takes b3, and then it wanted e5 attacking the knight, so my queen would be able to capture this f pawn. Interesting. So that's probably a line that I should have looked into. But I was trying not to run out of time. We played a 25-minute game with a 5-second delay. And so I was kind of rushing a little bit in the game. So, I'll attribute some of the mistakes to that, to rushing. All right. So capture, capture. And now this rook move. And so I was trying to figure out what to do with this bishop now, which I can't move here anymore, or he'll just capture my bishop on the b1 square. So I ended up moving my bishop here. Although in the game, the computer prefers, let me see here, e5. So e5, I don't know, I was kind of wondering, here it looks like e5, the queen could just capture, but then what would happen next if the queen captured there? That could be an interesting possibility. Let's see. If e5 is played and the queen captures, let's see why it does not like that. It likes this knight move, which makes sense because then the knight would end up capturing this pawn anyway and attacking the queen. So, knight to d7. Then it likes queen to h5 here. Okay. I don't know. With that setup, it looks like black is ahead by a full point after that anyway. So I avoided that. I didn't want to just give up this pawn. So if we go back, let's see here. All right, so the move played in the game, rook to b8. So I had to move this bishop here. So I moved the bishop. I didn't want him doubling up rooks here, which he was trying to do after this move. So I just captured, and it said that was best. So he recaptures with the pawn. Now I have this weak isolated pawn here. He does have a backwards pawn here, And so the game continued with this move, which I thought, well, I need to get this bishop into the game by swinging it over here to c1 where it can attack up this diagonal. And here it protects this pawn, so I didn't know if he would try and go after that. But it said queen to f5 was the best move here. So, queen to f5, if I go back and look at that, maybe that exchanges queens off, queen to f5. If there's a knight move, then it wanted me to capture. So maybe that would be more drawish. All right, so the game continued with my bishop move, and then he brings his queen up here. But it says once again, the computer wants knight to d7 to swing the knight back to e5 and attack my queen. So I just bring my bishop here where it will be able to attack his queen. So he moves his queen back, realizing that I'm going to attack it with the bishop if he leaves it there. But I bring the bishop up there anyway, although now it still prefers my queen moving up here to f5. And so now this knight retreats back where it will try and reposition to here and attack my queen, although bishop to d6 looks like it was the preferred move. But now white is ahead here by about a quarter of a pawn worth of material. So I push forward here, and it looks like it preferred this h-pawn push here, which would prevent the knight from jumping in to g5, which is what he did. And here, I believe I just captured, and actually, I don't think I captured yet. No, I moved my queen to g3. But I was worried about this bishop recapturing if I captured with my bishop, and I didn't want to give up the bishop pair, but I ended up doing that later. So first I moved here to create a battery with queen and bishop. So he moved here, and let's see, this is a mistake. Now it wants knight to h7 to go back here and retreat. So it looks like I went e5, and it says this is a great move because now this bishop must retreat. So the bishop retreats back, and I don't know if I followed this one up right. No. So here I moved the bishop to attack his queen, and it says that's a mistake. h4 would have been better to drive this knight back first. So I don't know. I think while I was playing, I thought about attacking the knight with this pawn, but I wanted to bring the bishop up here, so I should have attacked the knight first. But once the bishop moves up there, black had a good move here of capturing that bishop. Then after I recapture, his queen recaptures, so he gets a bishop and pawn. And that pawn was pretty important because now this could be a problem here. All these three pawns. And that would definitely be trouble in the endgame. So the game continues with me capturing here. And it says that was best. And I was hesitant to do that because of this bishop jumping here and then jumping onto e3 with check, which happened later in the game. So here, let's see, I moved h4, but instead I should have just moved here, which that would give up my e5 pawn if I did that. So let's take a look at that. If I didn't do that move, if I moved queen to f3, so queen to f3, here it says queen to e6 is best. But what is to stop him from just capturing? Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, in the game, I saw why he didn't do that, and I just forgot here that I can capture this f-pawn with a check there. So that is why. Okay. So moving on, after, let's see, h4, attacking his bishop. He moves his bishop to e3 with check, so I have to move my king up. And now we have queen to a2 check, and it says that was a mistake. He should have just pushed his pawns forward. So if we look at that, after this pawn push, b5, let's see, that would make the game even at this point if b5 were pushed. And it would recommend queen to f3 here, and then queen capturing here. Interesting. My king would have to move because of this threat of the bishop attacking. So that was dangerous. I probably should not have let that bishop come into my position here. But anyway, in the game, continuing on here, we have the queen checking, and my king moves. Although here it did not like that move. It said that is a miss. Queen to g2 should have been played. So I should have just continued on. And let's see, I apologize, the phone is ringing, but I will not answer it as this video is almost finished here. Okay, capturing, and now that is a miss. So let's see here, queen takes on a3, and it's recommending g5 to open up lines perhaps. Let's see. All right, so let me go back. I got distracted by the phone. King to h3 here. And that was a mistake. So queen to g2 should have been played. And then we had this capture. So instead, oh, it's saying that, the best move now is g5 by black, and that would equalize the game here. But instead, this capture was played. And now it looks like I missed a winning opportunity here. I should have played e6. And if e6 were played, then after, let's see, f takes e6 would have been the best move. And then, let's see, queen to b8. And then, after the king is forced to go here, now what? King to h7 is forced. And then we have rook to f8. Okay. And then what would happen next? They want, looks like c4. The computer says c4 is the best move. And then after rook to h8, we would have a forced king to g6 move. And then h5. And I'll play this out. And then here, the computer says king to f6. But then rook to f8. And now, excuse me, now queen would have to capture here. Otherwise, this king would be forced down here. And then a checkmate. Okay. So I just overlooked that opportunity. And by this point, the clock was ticking down. We were running out of time. So let me go back here. All right. So after queen takes on a3, I moved here, missing that opportunity. And now I just have a slight, tiny advantage. And then queen to b3 was played, although the computer wanted queen to a2. And now, let's see, the game continued with queen to a8 check. The king moved, and then I just checked again. But it looks like I should have left my queen here and moved my rook to a1. So I overlooked that opportunity. After this move, let's see. It looks like rook to a1 is the best move, with the threat of just moving up here and attacking from a8. So another overlooked opportunity, which by then we were both running out of time here with maybe a minute or two left on the clock, and we decided to agree on a draw here. Which, let's see, I'll play out a few more moves. Okay, this is how the game may have continued. So we just agreed on a draw after checking back and forth here. But I should have played rook to a1, and then the game may have continued with this block, then moving back. I don't know. This is just how the game may have continued, but anyway, before this video drags on too long, which it already has been pretty long, if you've stuck around, I thank you. So analyze those games, even if you just do a quick review. Try and play over them with your opponent if they will. And once you've tried to find everything you can on your own by going through the game, then run it through a computer if you have that option and see what you did wrong there, and that will help you a lot. Just try and find at least one thing per game, and if you can correct one mistake at a time and try not to repeat those mistakes, it'll make a big difference in your chess playing, and you'll improve that way. You can find a lot of things to improve on if you go over your own games. All right, I hope you enjoyed this game review here. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions, and check out my Nick Butts Chess channel and enjoy some more videos. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.